So today we are with Dr. Leah Bernardo, and she is a psychoneurologist, and she's going to tell us a little bit something about self-love. So first, before we get there, tell us something about psychoneurology. How did you come about it, and what is it exactly?
Okay. The easiest way I can define it is that psychoneurology is an alternative to psychiatry and psychology. What it is that we integrate ancient spiritual practices with unconscious work. So we work with the unconscious mind and we train the unconscious mind and we give the unconscious mind new resources for being happy.
So in a nutshell, it's training the unconscious mind
Yes,
or your
that's it.
subconscious.
Yes.
Which is, I didn't know it was trainable.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
It governs 90% of your behavior.
Okay.
It's not even your conscious mind. So the mind is divided into the conscious and the unconscious. The unconscious mind dictates 90% of your behavior.
Wow.
So to create behavioral changes, you need to spot what beliefs. It's really a lot of belief work, wherein what beliefs are trapping you into a cycle that is not supporting you.
Okay. So the subconscious, you would say, for most people, have not necessarily a negative way of thinking, but it hasn't been trained
Yes.
to support you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about self-love.
Yes.
This is a buzzword online and everywhere right now, and I think for a good cause, and a good reason, because people are becoming more aware of self-love and taking care of yourself. But before we start, I want to know, what is the actual definition of self-love? Like, how do you, as a psychoneurologist who helps patients, define what self-love is?
I think self-love, and this is my personal definition, is the way you talk to yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you trust yourself, and the way you radically accept yourself.
Wow, that's a lot. But it's
Yes,
good.
but it's the solution. I say it's the self-love solution because it is the solution to everything that I have dealt with, at least on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And it's body, mind, spirit.
I like what you said about how you trust yourself. That really resonates with me, because a lot of us, and me included, don't necessarily trust our intuition.
Exactly.
We're always doubting ourselves, and we're always in judging ourselves. We're very critical on ourselves, I think. When you talk about trusting ourselves, we kind of feel insecure. I don't know if others go through this, of where we are in our lives. It's always like, am I doing the right thing?
Yes.
Is this where I'm supposed to be?
Yes.
And it's constantly asking yourself that question.
Yes.
How do you think that plays a role in self-love?
Oh, that's all of it. Everything in your life is just a mirror of you.
Okay.
Your relationships, your everything about your life is a mirror of your relationship with yourself. And so when you judge yourself, you end up, of course, judging others.
Okay.
When you trust yourself, you end up trusting others. So if you see it, because a lot of people seem to think that self-love is selfish. I get that all the time.
Yes.
Like, it's selfish to love yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take care of yourself and you actually are mindful of your thought patterns and what you're saying to yourself about yourself, you're able to now direct your state of being
Okay.
into being happier. And every single person on the planet wants to be happier.
Yes, definitely.
Yet when you tell them that self-love is the solution, they come up with all sorts of
Yeah.
excuses. And the most common one is, I love myself, I get a massage.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I feel like I've texted you that.
What I've found is people have this whole aversion towards feeling bad, when in fact, sadness is what makes us human beings.
Yes.
I have yet to meet a person that doesn't get irritated or doesn't get angry. And yet we seem to classify that as being a bad person. And so we get caught up in this constant struggle to prove to ourselves that we're good people. And what I invite people to do is to scrap that entirely and change their perception and come from the assumption that there's nothing wrong with you.
Okay, so what you're saying is,
to fix.
if you're sad,
acknowledge that you're
Yeah,
sad.
so yeah, that's what I
But
meant. Rather than indulging on being
being
sad,
sad, flip it.
switch it and
Yes, there
say,
you go.
you know, I'm gonna do something that makes me
There you
happy.
go.
Like I'm gonna choose.
Exactly. Then that gives you accountability for your state. Because if you're sad,
Yes.
what's the first thing you say?
Like I'm sad.
And then you say,
You
why?
just sulk in it.
Right?
And it's true, and I think a lot of people, we love to kind of complain and talk about being sad and,
Yes. Stop talking about what doesn't feel good.
and
Talk about what
what feels good.
And stop trying to analyze. You see, when you're sad and you say, I'm sad, the first thing you say is why. Right after the why comes the blame. Then comes the
Yeah.
victimization.
Our normal response is to blame someone else.
Yes.
I do this all the time.
Yes.
I'm late because the driver took long, or I'm late, or you know, I look like hell because you know we're never accountable for our own actions because it's so.
And that's where blaming comes in, and the result of blame is victimization.
Yeah.
Empowerment really means I take accountability for my part of the problem. It's not blaming
But it's so much
yourself,
easier
huh?
to like blame others and
Yeah,
not
but
be
it doesn't
accountable.
solve anything. It doesn't solve
What do you
anything.
think accountability solves?
It enables you to fix your part of the problem because you will always play a part in the problem. It doesn't mean that you're to blame for the problem. It just means you contributed. So I will ask myself now, what can I do to make it better the next time?
Okay.
But I'm okay with the mistake I made now
Yeah.
because I see it as a learning process to do better the next time.
Okay.
So it depends on your perception of what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Take charge of your own state, of your own frequency, of your own vibration. What is frequency and vibration? It's your emotions.
Okay. So taking charge of your own frequency and your own vibration is very, I guess, hard for us to do because I wouldn't say we're in a state of denial. What is it? Is it something that we don't acknowledge?
I think it's also because we're caught up in the drama and in the venting cycle. And again, we've been told that it's good to vent, that it's good to jump into that pool if you're feeling sad.
Yeah.
But studies are already showing that the people that dive into their anger only get angrier.
Okay.
But people that acknowledge their anger and change it get less and less angry because they learn how to respond versus to simply react to their emotions.
That's one way to, let's say, prepare yourself, I
Mhm.
guess. When I was going through postpartum and I had gained so much weight, I remember I went to see Dr. Leah and she told me, you have to know that you're enough, so Balthazar will grow up knowing he's enough. And that just like made my head explode because I was like, imagine if every day I felt I wasn't enough, then my son would
Yes.
never feel like he was enough.
Exactly. Because you're passing on that belief to your
Exactly.
children.
Yeah. And so that really changed the way I saw myself in the mirror. And I remember you told me this. She said, just tell yourself I'm beautiful, I'm enough. While you're brushing your teeth in the mirror,
Yeah.
and I would talk to myself in the mirror, and I'm like, this is so stupid. And after 3 weeks of saying that, just simple phrases, I'm enough and I'm beautiful, it changed the way my
Yes.
perspective was. I became lighter.
Yes.
And you talk about freedom, I was free from my own judgment. So just to sum up everything, self-love is really about accepting who you are
Your relationship.
and
with
your
yourself.
relationship with yourself. And if I wanted to start my self-love journey, like for the people watching, is changing your mirror work. When you look in the mirror, just say a very simple sentence, I'm enough.